everybody, Prow here, and today I'm going to show you how to make an infinite wood farm. And if you're wondering why I'm standing in front of bamboo, well, bamboo is the best way to make an infinite wood farm because, well, bamboo can be crafted into wood. Making the farm is incredibly easy, and it is stupid fast, and it's fully AFK. You don't have to do anything. The bamboo wood is not only, of course, good for building, but can be used for all of the different wood-based crafting recipes or as a fuel source. This is honestly one of the most valuable farms that you can possibly have in your world. I did build this recently on the Bedrock guide. I wanted to give you a more step-by-step tutorial on how to build it. And also, this farm, compared to the last time I did a bamboo farm tutorial, is massively improved. It will not break. The flying machines will work 100% of the time. The allay will work 100% of the time. It is absolutely amazing. We've even incorporated the crafter to make it so you don't need 10 million chests just to store all of your bamboo. I'm going to give you an on-off switch to make sure that the farm is not running when you leave the area, because unloading chunks can keep a flying machine from working or make a flying machine break, but that's it. So let's go ahead and let's dive into the tutorial, starting with the size and space that you need. Okay, so the very first thing you need to do before anything else is you're going to have to find your chunk borders. There are different add-ons you can download that'll do this. You can simply use math. There's a lot of different ways to do it. And that's really important because flying machines will break if they are built across two different chunks, just because of how Redstone works. I have a pack here that you can download from my Discord channel. You'll see the top right-hand corner. It tells me when I get to the edge of a chunk, and it'll tell me when I get to the corner of a chunk. So it doesn't matter what direction we go. It doesn't matter what chunk we do. We're gonna use this chunk right here. Now with this farm, you're probably gonna want about 5 or so blocks available below the floor of the farm. Now, this is actually going to be our bamboo floor, so where we grow our bamboo. So I'm gonna go ahead and use grass here. Anything that bamboo can grow on will be fine. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna start here, and we're gonna count down 12 blocks of grass. This is going along one of the chunk borders. Once we get the 12 blocks of grass down, you can do 7 blocks of any kind of block. Nothing's gonna be growing on this, so any solid block here is fine. And then another 12 blocks of grass. So what I'll show you here with my pack is at no point do I go across a chunk border until I get to the edge of this chunk right here. So this is all inside of a chunk. We have a chunk border that is like right here. Nothing's going to be there. And then this is all inside of a chunk as well. Now, this being 31 blocks long, we need to go this way by 33 blocks, and I'll show you what the end result of the platform is. Okay, so as you can see here, we have our platform. The grass areas are 12 blocks wide each. The center solid block area is 7 blocks wide, and I went ahead and put a border around it, which you're gonna need to have eventually anyways, and that border can be any solid block, and is mostly just going to be decorative. Now, on each side of this, you're going to also want some space where your flying machines are going to go. It's where they're going to dock. So you're going to go another 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're going to make a little platform on the end here out of any solid block that you want to. Now, once you have this area set up, next thing you're going to want to do is find the center of your farm, which we have right here is the very center of everything. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to knock out a 2x2 area of blocks around that, because this is where all of our stuff is going to get dropped into. Now, you need to stick with this exact same size farm. Now, the reason why we need it to be this size is the allay's detection range. The allay can only detect up to 16 blocks in each direction in terms of trying to see this guy, the note block, or looking for the items that it's going to be picking up. So if we make it any bigger in either direction, what you're going to have is the allay is not going to either keep connection with its note block, in which case it'll just aimlessly wander around and not do anything, or it wouldn't be able to detect our drops. And we can't really make it bigger this way because that would require more flying machines. But since the allay will always return to the note block and kind of hover around it in a pretty close area, the allay will always be within range of getting our drops that are around here. Now, one thing to note, I'm only going to make this thing 1 level high for you guys today, but the range does apply vertically as well. So you can technically have multiple layers of this working. Now per layer, you're going to need about 2.5 to 3 allays. So one layer, I would use 3 allays instead of 2, but every 2 layers, I would say 5 allays is going to be okay. So if you're going to make it multi-layer, make sure you have at least 5 allays for every 2 layers. And keep in mind that this thing it's really fast. I have a 2-layer one that you saw in the Bedrock Guide world. You don't really need more than that, but I know some of you guys like to go crazy with it. So that's the info that you need. Now, the next important thing is bamboo requires a light level of 9 or higher to grow, which means that all levels of the bamboo needs to at least have a light level of 9 to continue to grow upwards. If you don't, the bamboo is going to stop growing. So some type of block-based light is going to be the easiest way to do this. You can use torches if you want to. You're going to want to start diagonally from the corner here and going in this direction. You want every 3rd block to be a light source. And going in this direction, you want every 4th block. And you're going to make a grid. And the reason why I like using grass is because if you want this to still look, kind of good and pretty, you can just cover these over with a moss carpet and you can't see the light anymore, which is pretty nice. The next thing we're going to do is make our collection area, which is going to be incredibly simple. You're going to want to come down below the farm and just fill in this whole area right here with solid blocks, except for these 5 right here. Now, what we're going to do in this space is we're going to place a crafter just like that. We're going to have a hopper coming to the side here, a hopper coming to the side here, and a hopper going to the top right here. And then we will have hoppers going this way and hoppers going this way. You just need to put water right here, straight across. That's it. That's all you got to do. So all hoppers are leading to the center. But especially if you're doing 2 layers, 3 layers, or maybe 4 layers, this should be able to handle all of those to where everything will be able to enter into 3 spots of this crafter right here. I'm going to put a solid block right here, put a observer right here, an observer looking at that observer. And now this crafter is always on, meaning that anytime it fills up with bamboo, it will pop out a bamboo block. Here's your example right here. At no other point does it do anything until you get to this point. The bamboo block shoots out of it. It takes 9 bamboo to make 1 bamboo block, meaning that your storage space that you need is 9 times smaller than it would otherwise be. Now, storage on this is quite simple, and really it's just going to depend on how many bamboo blocks that you're going to want to have. You'll probably want to have at least 5 chests full of them because you can get so much of it so quickly. It's easy to store a lot of. I have a lot more storage in my setup where I am actually holding on to about, I think, 25 double chests worth. But something like this is at the very least a very good start for you and will get you a lot of bamboo, and you will fill this up very fast. Okay, next thing that we want to do is we just want to enclose this area in. So our allays, once we pull them in, they have no way to get out. So we're just going to create a big box around this. And I want to show you a couple small things with it. First of all, we added a border to go around the sides here, but I did not add a border on this side. So I'm going to go 1 block further out on each side of the ends here because we're going to have a wall that goes right here. Now, this enclosed area, you're going to want it to be at least 7 blocks high. And when we go in to enclose this area, you can enclose it with anything you like. This is fully aesthetic. I recommend only use solid blocks because allay like to get stuck on non-solid blocks like glass panes or trapdoors. And depending on how you're going to make this thing look, this area right here, all of the solid blocks here and solid blocks there, you may end up hiding that area. We're going to hide that area here today. So I'll show you what I'm going to do in terms of that design. And here's roughly what you should have right now. Just a big box around your farm. I added a viewing window here and I just kind of blocked off these sides. But now we need to do the next important part, which is build the flying machines. And these flying machines are quite easy to build. What we're going to do is we're going to take a obsidian block. We're going to place one right here where you see we're kind of like in the middle, right? We're in the middle of the middle row here. And we're going to place an obsidian block right here against our back wall. We could do the same thing back here on this side, and we could do the same thing on the other side as well. Now for the flying machine, you can use either slime blocks or honey blocks. Just make sure within any individual flying machine, you use the same of all of that block. Now to build the flying machine itself, we're going to come up to the obsidian block. We're going to place a slime block right here, and then a slime block there and there, making a little L shape. And we're going to come out another 1, 2, 3, and 4 blocks here and place a solid block there. So we have solid, 6 slime blocks, and then 1 slime block at the end. We're then going to come over diagonally from this one. We're going to place a temporary block here and a slime block there. We're going to come out by 1. We're going to come over by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now to get this moving, I'm going to temporarily put a obsidian block right here just to keep this thing from flying away from me on accident. We're going to place a sticky piston here, a observer facing this way. See, it's facing out. A regular piston right here. I'm going to place down 2 temporary blocks. And then underneath this one, I'm going to place an observer that is looking up like that. And then I'm going to do that same thing on this side, just facing in the other direction. So we're going to face a sticky piston here. We're going to face an observer this way. We're going to face a regular piston this way. We're going to do a temporary block right there and there. We're going to face the observer that way. And we have an observer facing up there too now. I'm now going to do this same thing mirrored on the other side. So now you should have 2 flying machines set up that look just like this. And we're going to just trigger this to go to the other side really quick. You can just place a solid block down on top of the observer and then watch it fly across. Of course, making sure that your obsidian is over there. And this is just us making sure that the flying machine is operating properly. Okay, while we're working on it, I'm going to go ahead and trap this guy in again to make sure it cannot go anywhere. And you are going to now want to take 4 copper bulbs, and you're going to want to place them on top of the observer that's closest to the back wall on each side. So that means 1 goes there, 1 goes here. And then when this goes back the other way, we're gonna do the same thing on that side when we get there. Next, you're going to want to go ahead and connect those copper bulbs straight across with any type of blocks that you want to, because we will be running redstone on this here in just a little bit. Okay, next thing we're going to do is build the clock to control our flying machine here. And we're just going to go underneath the farm here. You can go a few blocks out from center. You don't have to go far. Something about right here. And roughly 4 blocks down from the floor should be good. We're going to work from this little area right here. We're going to first make an etho hopper clock, which is quite simple. You face 2 hoppers against each other. You put solid blocks diagonally below those, and then solid blocks diagonally above those. So that's your configuration right there. You take redstone dust, put it on top of each of those, face a piston right there, and a piston right there like that. Face a comparator facing out that way, a comparator facing out that way, and put a redstone block up here. And that's it. It's all done. And our clock here is going to be a maximum length clock. Any block here will do. Just make sure you put a total of 5 stacks in, 5 full stacks. Do not put more, and make sure no other blocks fall in here during any other part of this process. Now, what we're going to want to do is put a solid block at the end right here and put a torch at the end of that. We're going to want a solid block right here and just a little platform here. Something like this should probably do the trick. We need to make a signal extender, or a pulse extender. It's going to be pretty easy to do. We're going to face a comparator this way, a comparator this way. We're going to put a solid block right here, redstone dust here, 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 and here. Next, come back topside for a moment. Come over to the middle of the farm. And on the second to last block, just go ahead and knock that block out, because we're going to come straight up through there with some redstone torches. You can do the same on this other side too. And this will help you find it from down below. Once you get down below, you want to go ahead and go 3 blocks down. And then you're just going to want to run this redstone line here straight across like this to eventually make its way right here. And then same thing on the other side. You're just going to be running redstone directly underneath the hole that we just made. Now, go ahead and run your redstone dust across all the way down through here. You are going to want to know how many repeaters you need to put in. So just go ahead and power this in block really quick. Look for where the redstone signal runs out and go ahead and just throw a repeater in. Looks like we could put one about right here. And then our redstone signal does make it all the way to the end on this side. We're going to put a solid block right here. It goes directly underneath the hole. Do the same thing for the other side. And then actually, once you have all this in, there's one other thing that you want to do. You're going to want to go ahead and replace this redstone dust with a repeater. This redstone dust with the repeater. That is going to keep the signal at full until the signal turns off. And now you should see this turn on. And then now this signal eventually gets weaker to the point where it cuts off. That's exactly what we wanted to happen. And then now we're just going to make a torch tower. So we're going to place a torch and a block and a torch and a block and a torch. And that top torch there needs to be off. If it's not, you can go up another torch and a block. And then you're going to want to run redstone dust across. It does not need to go on top of the copper bulb. And then I do want to make sure that the signal makes it all the way across. Looks like it does. And we're now going to repeat this on the other side in the exact same location, except for one thing. The bulbs aren't going to be as far out on that side. I'm going to go ahead and send these guys over. We're going to do the exact same thing here. I'm going to put a copper bulb here. That is going to end up sending that down. That's fine. Put a copper bulb here. Those were the observers that were closest to the wall. And we'll go ahead and run our little line right across here. Place our torch, block, and torch. Run our redstone dust. And that's the timer. All 100% done. The timer is complete. Next thing we need to do is we need to add in our repeating note block that will keep the allays throwing their items right here. To do that, we're going to go ahead and place down 1, 2 temporary blocks. We're going to face an observer downwards. We're going to come back down here, get rid of both these blocks. We do need to go down a block real quick, and we need to face an observer upwards right here. And make sure you fill in that hole that you just made if you made one like I did. If you want to keep this thing as quiet as possible, use a bone block on top of it, because the note block that we put on top of that bone block will play a sound based on what block is below it. So this will make the sound not quite as harsh as some other blocks. And then finally, we do want to make sure that no allays will throw bamboo on the top here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put 3 trapdoors up on all sides, just like this. Close them like so, and we're good to go. The reason why I did that is because if you put anything on top of the note block, it stops playing. It makes no more sound. So you can't do that. You can't do that. So trapdoors work really good for keeping allay from throwing stuff on the top and getting that stuff stuck. A couple more steps to go, and you're going to have a working farm. Thing number 1 is how you can actually like disguise this farm to look really cool. Anywhere that the slime blocks are going to touch, you're going to want to have either obsidian or glazed terracotta. So I'm going to actually line this whole area down here, glazed terracotta. It touches all of those spots, and it touches all of these spots right here. So that's all of the spots that our slime blocks touch. From there, we can decorate this thing to look however we want to close this off to anything else and to make it look a lot cooler and better. Okay, as you can see, we have little like areas for our flying machines to dock into. You see I have like this block right here missing. That's because that guy needs to come through. Now, you need a couple final things here. 1, 2, 3 allay. We want all of them to have bamboo. And if you want to know, well, where do I find the allay and how the heck do I get it in here, Prowl, and how do I make more of them? Check out the Bedrock Guide episode where I covered getting allays. I cover all of that for you, and I make it super duper easy. But once you get your 3 allays in here, then it's time to start placing down bamboo. Okay, now we need a way to make it to where this thing won't break, because if we leave the area, if we unload the chunks while it's going to break it. Those flying machines are either going to stop, or they're going to lose like the piston. They'll leave it behind, and then you have to go in there and you have to fix it. And nobody wants to have to do that, right? So this is going to be incredibly easy to do. What you want to do is beside like this part of the farm right here, go ahead and put yourself a few blocks down. And you want to replace this block right here. You want to put a torch there and a solid block on top. That right there, when I placed it down, it did trigger this to go. This now has the farm in a permanent off state. This farm is right now permanently turned off. It will not run anymore. That clock still runs, but it can't do anything. It can't trigger anything. So I want to get a pressure plate of any kind, and then I want to put the pressure plate on whatever block this is on. So this is on that block. So I'm just going to put the pressure plate right here. When I'm on the pressure plate, it turns the power to that torch off. Now the farm can run. So we can sit here, we can AFK, and the farm will run as long as that we're here. And then whenever we get off of this, the farm cannot run anymore. Now, if you don't want to have to sit there, say you know you're going to be working in the area, then you could just get rid of the torch. That's fine. And you just put like a lever like right here. This will do the same thing. This will turn it on and off from down there. You can run this lever somewhere else topside if that's easier for you to get to. Whatever works best for you. Now, lastly, what if the farm breaks? Say you leave the area and the piston comes off or something. Get your piston back, right? So if your piston's left out here somewhere, it'll be this guy, right? Just go ahead and place it down. And that'll fix it usually. If it's just stopped up here and there's no piston that's disconnected, then just take a block, a solid block, and just sit it on top of the observer that's up there. It'll trigger the machine. It'll make it fly one of the two ways. Now, for each layer of this farm that you use, you can expect to get somewhere close to about 900 bamboo logs per hour. Yes, 900 per hour per layer. That is all of the wood that you are probably ever going to need. If you enjoyed today's video, click the like button and subscribe button down below. They help the channel a absolute ton. So please make sure you do that. And I appreciate you guys watching today, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.